All right, this is the WFMY podcast. I'm Josh Paloha. He's Joe Gilbert, and we are here to discuss that thrilling win over the Cowboys. That was much closer than it should have been, given the score in the third quarter. But hey, W is a W. 3-1. How about that, Joe?
3-1, yeah. Win is a win. It got a little bit closer than we wanted it, but they did what other Browns teams wouldn't have done. They finished it off. It got closer than it should have been, but a win is a win, and we're 3-1 going into the Colts next week.
Just like we all expected, the Browns scored 49 points, and it's still not a for sure win. I mean,
Right.
can a Cleveland team ever just make it easy for us?
Yeah. Well, no, not right now.
But yeah, I mean, I don't even know. That was probably one of the most fun games I've ever watched, even though it was much closer. I mean, 80 points, 80 plus points. I don't even know. I don't even know where to start.
Yeah. Right. Well, so going back to the ending of it, I actually tweeted about it. I still didn't think we should have been panicking because when the Browns were actually trying to score points, Dallas had no chance. They never stopped them once. Maybe one time, I think, in the first half. They were just dominant on offense when they were actually trying to score points, being aggressive. So it's great to see that. Wow. But yeah, it's great to see the Browns take a aggressive play at the end of the game to pull off the win. And let's talk about Odell, man. This is his coming out party for Cleveland, man.
Finally, Odell's always had that it factor, and it's hard to describe the it factor. But if you show the tape of today, you can just be like, "That's the it factor."
Yeah, that was so fun to see. Utilized in every single possible way. They used him on the rushing, obviously the deep passes, but he made some big catches just for first downs too. But yeah, that was the Odell that I expected when we got him.
That reversed ice the game too. I thought it was. Yeah. I looked up because I was doing something, and I looked up and I saw him like 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage with only the Cowboys together. I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah, it was a gutsy call, but I really like the call. Wait,
hold on. Did you like it while it was going on, or
I have to say, because the defense, you could see the defense was fooled really well, except for one guy, and that's a situation I was talking in our Slack where you pay your players to win that matchup. There was a defensive end versus Odell Beckham. I'm gonna go with Odell to win that battle, and once he got past it, it was wide open to the races.
I'll just go with hindsight. That was a great play call. I mean, look, it led to a tight end, right? Or it led to a touchdown, right?
Right.
Great play call. Great play call. I had no worries the entire time.
Yeah. It was fun to see, and just going up based off that, it was fun to see that Browns coach just completely outcoached the other side. Like it was. Even I know they got conservative at the end, obviously let them in the ball game, but still, overall, Stefanski looked like the seasoned coach over McCarthy.
McCarthy brought out his inner Freddie Kitchens at times.
He did. Some of the timeout, like calling timeouts with 6 minutes to go.
The timeouts, and then that Zeke touchdown that was clearly a touchdown that they didn't.
Yeah,
there was a touchdown and he didn't challenge it, so he wasted like another minute and a half.
Right? And the terrible onside kick that gave him at 50-yard line. Yeah, it was.
If he would have called a call on 4th and 9, you could have said that Freddie Kitchens was coaching the Cowboys that game.
Right. Yeah, and the reverse. Some of it, like if they didn't do the onside in the last part and they just let him kick it deep, the Browns probably couldn't have done that onside kick because it would have been a little bit too dangerous around the red zone. So, Yeah, it was great to see that Stefanski was took the charge and won that game coaching wise too.
As a Browns fan, it's crazy to see that a coach is out coaching an opponent like this.
Right.
And you could say that Stefanski did that last week too.
Right. Yeah, he did it. Yeah, 3 straight weeks now. He's done it really well. Coach game, and he has now tied the great Hugh Jackson for coaching wins. So at 3. So
I don't know if that should be like a compliment to Stefanski or like if you're being compared to Hugh Jackson. I mean, that's like.
Well, he only had 4 games, so, and Hugh Jackson had like 30 or something.
True. Oh gosh, we already talked about Hugh Jackson and Freddie Kitchens, and we're not even 10 minutes into this thing yet.
That's all the past now.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So the offensive line. I mean, it's amazing what a good offensive line does.
It's amazing.
I mean, even when you have Nick Chubb, who obviously helps the offensive line, but without Nick Chubb for 3 quarters, and the Browns still put up 307 rushing yards.
Yeah, it was amazing. They just kept the first half was just crazy. They just kept putting everybody in. They put 4 running backs in there. Every guy pulled off a 9-yard gain, or it was amazing what the offensive line was doing for them.
7.7 yards a carry today and 40 carries. That is unbelievable.
That's crazy. Yeah, it was Dearness. Shout out to Dearness, man. He was really good. He even when the holes weren't there, he was still creating yards. That was really great to see, to have a guy step up behind Kareem to put the game away there at the end too.
You shout out Dearness. I'm going to shout out everyone that had Dearness Johnson being the leading rusher in a 49-38 shootout for the 2020 Cleveland Browns bingo board.
Right.
Dearness Johnson and Odell Beckham led the team in rushing, just like we all expected.
Yeah, just like we all expected.
If you would have told me that the Browns would rush for 300 yards, Dearness Johnson and Odell Beckham would have been like options X, Y, and Z.
Right.
For leading the team in rushing.
You would think Chubb had like 200 yards.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just because, and then when the rushing dominates like that, they use play action so well, and then obviously the reverses work because the defense is just playing the rush.
Yeah,
so when you do a play action and then do a reverse, I mean, there's just so many ways the Browns offense can go if the rushing attack dominates.
Yeah. This is what Stephanie is all about. It's going basing everything off the run game. Everything looks like it's going to be the run, and then it shoots off to a play action. It shoots off to a wide receiver reverse. It's just, and it all is based off a productive run game, and that's what the Browns have been doing the last 3 games. So it's great to see.
Yeah, I mean, the Browns had 49 points, and Baker had 165 passing yards.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
What?
I want to shout out Baker too. He didn't get that many opportunities in the second half, but he made some key third and long plays in the first half that really extended drives. A couple of Jarvis first downs for a third down conversion. But yeah, he made the plays when the offense needed them, and that was what the offense calls for right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great to see that he did that. He only had that one big miss in the fourth quarter, but
luckily it didn't cost him.
Right,
because that should have been a touchdown.
Right, it didn't cost him. He probably was a little rusty after not throwing for a whole quarter. But yeah, overall Baker was really good once again, and this offense is just rolling.
Yeah, I know we talked last week about how one of these games Baker's going to have to be the guy that wins it for the Browns, not just the guy that is the control type of guy, which is what he's been the first. Like, I won't even count week 1. We'll completely forget what happened week 1 for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But I mean, when the rushing attack dominates like they do, you don't need Baker to win you the game.
Right.
You just need him to not turn the ball over.
Right. Yeah. And when they did need him and went to him, he stepped up. Those big third down conversions. He was. This is what the offense should be looking like, especially early on in the season.
Yeah. Yeah, I would. 49 points. I said that the Browns would have to score 40 today to win. I did not think that they'd be able to put up 49. I'll be honest.
Right. And they put up, 30 – how many did they put up in the first three quarters?
They had 41 in the first three quarters.
Yeah. Yeah, they could have – if they put on the foot on the pedal, they could have scored way more than that. So, yeah. It's great to see this offense just rolling. Yeah, it's good to see.
Austin Hooper looked pretty good today. Jarvis looked pretty good. Harrison Bryant, he's not playing like a rookie. Whether it's or whether it's receiving or blocking or anything, he's not playing like a rookie.
Right. Yeah. He's especially blocking too. He's blocking really well too. So yeah, that was definitely a steal for the Browns draft this year. Have a guy that's producing this much already.
Yeah, I'm sure David Njoku's very happy seeing Harrison Bryant dominate like he has so far.
Yeah, just think who we add him in a couple weeks. This
everyone's gonna be fresh,
even better. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. Today, if you would have told me that Dak, I know we talked about this in the Instant Insights on the site, but if you would have told me that Dak Prescott passed for 502 yards and 4 touchdowns, I would have thought that the Browns lost by at least 14.
But hey, they didn't. The last one, I think it was 3 straight games for them with 450 yards, and they had one win, and it was in the collapse by the Falcons. So it's usually not a recipe for wins when you have to throw that many yards, unless you're Patrick Mahomes.
They have Ezekiel Elliott, and they have 18 total carries, 12 by Zeke.
Right, and it was crazy just watching what their decision making. Like Pollard was playing for most of the third quarter or the fourth quarter. Like Zeke was just like nowhere to be seen. Like I don't understand the usage at Dallas, and
I'm fine
somehow,
with it. It's nice to see another team doing that for once.
Yeah. Dane Brugler actually had a funny point that somehow the Browns are going to have a harder chance of making the playoffs because Dallas is in the easiest. They could still be in first place.
Yep, at 1-3.
At 1-3, and the Browns are tied for first at 3-1. So figure that.
Yeah, that division is probably one of the worst divisions in NFL history. That's what it'll end up as. Right. There's a good chance that the team that goes 6-10 will win the division.
Yeah, and the Eagles, who have not won a game yet, play tonight, and they could be in first place by the end of the day. So
yeah, because they have a tie, right? So
right.
2-1.
So yeah, so they could be in first place by the end of the day. So
wow,
it's just crazy. Let's move to the defense, though.
What defense. The second and third quarter defense, or the first and fourth quarter defense?
Yeah, it was a tale of two halves, definitely. The pass rush just seemed like dead tired in the second half. I'm not sure what was happening. Obviously, there was a few plays. We can say this all the time where we see some holds. I think Miles had a couple in the second half, but yeah, this was not a great second half for the defense. They took the bend but do not break a little too seriously and just let them drive down the field too easily.
Yeah, go on.
Go ahead.
The Browns defense played really well in the second and third quarter. I remember, I forget, I looked it up. I forget what it was, but they only gave up like 104 yards in the second and third quarter. But in the first and fourth quarter, it was like 400 plus yards.
Yeah. It just like the whole team just kind of like put the foot off the gas and kind of thought it was over. And you can't do that in the NFL. And
yeah, especially against an offense like Dallas's.
Yeah, and I think this game will actually be helpful in them. I saw the post game interview with Baker, and that was the first thing he brought up was not putting the foot on the gas and ending the game early. So I hope they take something out of it. Obviously, you can take a lot of things out of it, but I hope that's one of the things to learn from and get better from to finish off games the right way and not let the team back in.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is them just not playing well, but in the fourth quarter, you can tell that they were completely gassed on when Dallas scored 3 straight touchdowns and 3 straight 2-point conversions. Part of that's on the defense, part of that's on the offense for literally just going 3 and out. I mean, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, it's definitely it comes back to the complementary football, and when your offense is just going 3 and out and running the ball, not trying to score points, your defense is gonna get tired, especially when they run down the field like that. And Myles Garrett was just like gassed. I have never seen him so tired.
He's so overpaid, isn't he? Myles Garrett's so overpaid.
Yeah, stud first half, man. Oh my gosh.
He had a third straight game with a strip sack and 5 sacks overall, I think, this season.
Yeah, yep. And how many pressures now?
Myles Garrett and OBJ proved today that they're just so overpaid. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's good to see your stars step up.
Last
year we didn't see all of them step up, but this year almost every single our highest paid guys are stepping up and making plays for the offense and defense, and it's great to see. Especially Denzel.
I was just going to bring him up. He played really well too.
Yeah, Denzel. It's been rough in the back seven for the Browns, but Denzel has been a bright spot. He shuts down his guy, and he'll make the occasional interception when they try to give it to the guy he's covering. And I knew if the Browns were going to win this game, one of the stars, either Myles or Denzel, would have to make a play to end that game, and Denzel did that and to pick off that pass.
Denzel's biggest issue is staying healthy, but if he's healthy, he is a lockdown comeback.
Yep.
It'll be interesting to see what happens when Greedy comes back, which should be hopefully soon. I mean, they didn't put him on the IR, so it's got to be sooner rather than later.
Right, yeah.
If he can lock down as a CB2, because if he can play well on the opposite side, that makes things even easier for Denzel.
Right, yeah. It's going to be interesting to see when this team is fully healthy. This defense actually is fully healthy, and see how Joe Woods uses them all. Because you got Kevin Johnson just coming back. He'll probably handle the slot. And then Terrence Mitchell is not getting talked about that much, but he's really playing well, covering his guys. So it'll be interesting to see if he loses the second cornerback spot, or if Greedy has to only play on.
Yeah.
So it'll be
crazy that we're talking about how a Browns cornerback played well when they just gave up 500 passing yards.
But I know.
Hey, that's 2020 football.
Yeah, it's the middle of the field is just a disaster for the Browns defense.
Kudos to the Browns. They only gave. Oh no, never mind. I'd say Dallas's tight end didn't do that well today, but he had 4 receptions.
Dalton Schultz had, he had a big game. Yeah,
I think that's like a guaranteed, no matter what's going to happen.
Oh yeah,
opposing tight end has a big game.
Right, Dalton Schultz was struggling a little bit, and now he had his best game almost in his career.
I think you can put me out there at 6'6", and I'd still play decently well against the Browns defense at tight end. And I'm slow.
It's just clockwork, man. Every week, there's whoever the tight end is, he's gonna either score a touchdown or have a big game. It's just.
And speaking of tight ends, Dalton Schultz was available in all my fantasy football leagues, and I was like, maybe the Browns will turn it around this week.
Yeah.
Well,
guess not.
There's 15 more points to the opposing tight end.
Yeah. There were some bright spots though, like sprouted in for the defense. The young guys like Jordan Phillips had a good stretch there where he made some plays in the first half or the third quarter, I think it was. And Harrison made a play and tipped the ball, about an interception. But how many interceptions should we have today too? Is another.
Hey, they still forced 3 turnovers.
Right. It should have been 8. They had how many near dropped interceptions? There was like one drive they had like 2 on it. Yeah. They should go through the catching drill all next week for the defense.
Either go through the catching drill or go through the, hey, this is how you cover a tight end and don't leave them wide open drill.
That would be a good one too.
But hey, now we're just critiquing the little things. They gave up 38 points and still won by 11.
I know. It's great to actually diagnose a win and the little things that we could have done better, and we still won. So it's good to see.
Yeah, for film room and X and O guys like you and Jake Burns, you've been through. I mean, I don't know how you guys do it. When the Browns went 0-16, you guys rewatched the game. I think I'd gouged my eyes out halfway through the game, every game.
Yeah, that was a rough time in the film room.
Like, hey, the Browns just lost 45-17, but I'm going to go rewatch the game that night and then rewatch the All-22 and then rewatch the All-22 again.
Yeah, it can be not fun, but this year has been
hopefully it's
fun.
Worth it. Yeah, hopefully it's worth it this year for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But yeah, 49-38. 49-38. I did not think the Browns could even do that.
Right. Yeah, we said it last week. This is their first really big test. Obviously, I believe the opener, but there's so much going into that opener.
What opener? I don't know what you're talking about. Right?
I don't remember it either.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about.
The first real test of the season, and the Browns came out with a plus. A plus. Anytime you win, it's an A plus in my book. A win is a win is a win.
That's one way to put it. There's been some ugly wins.
Hey, yeah, right. Ugly wins where it would be like 9-6 or something like that. so yeah, it's nice to see a Browns team score a lot. So
49 points, 3-1.
Yeah.
And Joe and I were talking about the schedule. No, we weren't. No, we're not jinxing it.
We're not doing that.
We're not talking about the schedule.
We're not doing the schedule game here.
All right.
One game at a time.
The schedule. The Browns fans love playing the schedule game prior to the season, but that's a lot of optimism. Now we're being like realists.
I know, right? We kind of give up during the season usually. It's like, preseason's like, there's some winnable games here, and then after 2 games, it's like, okay. When's
2 games? It's usually after like 2 quarters.
Yeah, when's the trash? So it's great to see the Browns win, and we're looking ahead in playoffs. Maybe let's hope.
Wait, we just said we weren't playing the schedule game. Now you're talking playoffs after 4 games.
I'm just looking forward, man.
All right, so guys. If the Browns lose every game from here on out, you know who to blame.
Blame me at Joe Gilbert WFNY. He can tweet at
me. Look, he's plugging his Twitter account, even though he's jinxing it. Look at him.
But yeah, next big test next week though, versus the Colts. So it should be a fun one. They're a better team than Dallas, obviously, after what we just saw. But so it'll be another good test for the offense and defense, and we're gonna face Phillip Rivers and his wacky throwing motion, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting the Browns to start off 2-1. I wasn't expecting them to win today. I was expecting it to be 2-2 after today. So hey, 3-1. 3-1 sounds nice.
It does.
And for a Cleveland Cavs fan, it sounds really nice.
It sounds like 2001 all over again.
Yeah. And Baker said he didn't care. The announcer was like, "Hey, do you know the last time the Browns 3-1?" He's like, "I don't care. It's 2020."
Right.
All right. Cool.
I love this. They're going one game at a time. I know that seems like a thing everyone says, but they really seem like they're just focusing on one time. I like it.
Yeah. All right, so on to the Colts, which is the only 4:25 game, unless the game gets flexed later in the season, obviously. So 4:25 next week.
Give me Romo.
For some reason, I was like, wait, you want Romo to play quarterback?
We want Romo to calling the game, man. We never get him, and when we do, it's like I think the Titans last year, so that was a fun game to listen to.
So you're saying that Romo only announces games that the Browns get blown out in? All right.
Turn it. Hey, this is a new leaf this year, man. This is the new Browns here.
New Browns, yes. All right. So 3-1. On the Colts, since it's a 4:25 start, Joe and I will probably be on here man, today that was like a 3.5 hour game. So maybe 8 o'clock next Sunday night. But yeah,
something like that.
49-38 winners. The Browns are 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
Looking good. Thinking about the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Hey, the Browns are 12 wins away from 15-1. Okay, Joe.
That's
I don't care what anyone says.
That's math right there.
12 wins away from 3-1 or from 15-1.
Oh yeah.
All right. But thanks for joining us, you guys, on another edition of the WFMY podcast, Instant Insights with Joe and Josh. See you next week.
See ya.